Well, he'd bitten his lip and ignored her. For Jenny. She'd been well liked. Most of her friends, and there had been a good many of them, had attended the service, greeting him with handshakes and sympathetic shoulder pats and a few stiff hugs. "How are you holding up? Such a tragedy. Taken before her time. She was so loved. She touched so many in the short time she had. She'll be sorely missed." He'd accepted their ministrations graciously enough, in his opinion, but he'd kept his distance during the service, standing alone, several feet away from the main group. He wanted nothing more to do with any of them. They were Jenny's friends, not his. They'd attended the burial for her sake, certainly not out of any genuine concern for him. Their relationships with him were gossamer and transitive, established and maintained through Jenny. The same went for Jenny's parents and brother, with whom he'd been cordial, but who'd never known quite what to make of him. Now she was gone. He himself didn't have many friends, not close ones. It was a truth that didn't disturb him in the least. He viewed it with the objectivity of a scientist observing a squirming microbe under a laboratory microscope. He withdrew his hands from his pockets and turned his attention from the sky back to Jenny's grave. Like a black hole, its darkness seemed to defy the shimmering day, sucking in the surrounding sunlight, or perhaps repelling it. He stared hard into the opening, peering into the dimness. He could just make out his wife's coffin, which gleamed the dull silver of a bullet. He was seized with a wild urge to throw himself into the hole and grab the coffin, to pound on its cold, unyielding shell and scream his throat raw, to wrap his arms around it and hug it to his chest and wait for the indifferent earth to bury them both. Because really, what else mattered now? Something moved in his peripheral vision. A man, bald and short and thick, inched forward from a gleaming black town car parked on a nearby road. He cleared his throat. "Mr. Finney?" His voice was reedy, yet carried clearly. He and the tall man were the only living souls now remaining in the section of the cemetery. The tall man lifted his chin and inclined his head to one side. The thick man coughed. "Mr. Finney, you have that, meeting in 45 minutes at the Sulk." He tapped his wristwatch. "Just wanted to, remind you." Finney did not turn around or speak. He kept his head tilted toward the horizontal, as if he were in the aisle of a supermarket, casually holding up a cereal box to inspect its list of ingredients. The man reeks of cigarettes, Finney thought. He was specifically instructed that I hate cigarettes. Finney watched him out of the corner of his eye. The seconds ticked by. Perspiration gathered across the thick man's bare skull and glinted in the sun. The man cleared his throat, as if to speak again, then seemed to think the better of it. He retreated to the car, wheezing. Finney straightened his head back to the vertical so that his chin was once again aligned with his neck. Although he'd never been predisposed to quick anger or rash thoughts, Jenny's death had kindled in him an emotional brittleness, worsened by his hopeless incapacity to process the cauldron of feelings that had simmered deep in his psyche since she'd been taken from him. Rage, raw as an open wound, bubbled over from inside him and threatened to consume him. He drew a deep breath and held it. Finney was not given to cliché. He, in fact, hated cliché. So he was surprised when the first coherent thought to pop into his mind, as the thick man waddled away, was, "I'm gonna kill him." A sentiment that was, of course, a cliché. He forced the air out of his lungs and seized that thought, flipped it around in his mind, mentally hefted it, turned it this way and that, considered its substance. "I'm going to kill him." In an instant, his anger over the thick man's stupendous idiocy